Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unbreakable-You. And this is the podcast for women who had walked through fire, for women who felt burned, and for those that are still learning, one day at a time, to rise from whatever they went through. I am Olga Binyaminov, your healing and empowerment coach. And if this is your first time here, I'm so glad that you found this space. And if you've been here for a while with me, welcome back. Thank you for joining. Today, I want to start the month of June with a topic that's very close to heart. The theme of this month is love and relationships, if you're following my Exceed Limitless podcast. But I also want to bring love and relationships into this space. And this month, I want to talk about love after the wound. I want to talk about healing your heart, reclaiming your power, loving again, but this time differently. And we are starting today with the first episode of the month. And what I want to talk about is the love that you accepted when you didn't know your worth. Because the truth is, and I say this with the deepest compassion, most of us accept love that did not actually match who we were. And not because we were weak, but because we were just not fully knowing our own worth. And it's not foolish. It's simply because we didn't know what we didn't know. And today, that changes. Because I want you today to identify that you are worthy and start living the life that will bring the love to you because you deserve it. I want to start by asking a simple question, and I want you to just answer it honestly, just for yourself. Have you ever stayed in a relationship longer than you actually should have? Have you ever excused someone's behavior and deep down you actually knew that this was not okay? And have you ever bent yourself into a shape that didn't feel like you, just to make someone else comfortable enough to stay with you? And if the answer is yes to any of these questions, then this is the right space for you. And I need you to hear me say that. You are not broken. You were simply operating from what you knew at the time. Now, what I want to talk about is really through something that I lived, because I really lived this. And I have coached many women through this, and that is low self-esteem. Low self-esteem in love doesn't always look like what we think it looks like. It doesn't always look like staying in an obvious abusive relationship. Sometimes it's just far more subtle than that. It looks like accepting crumbs and calling them a meal. You get a text here, a little attention there, and you tell yourself, well, at least he shows up sometimes. And crumbs become your norm. They become the normal behavior that you accepted. Explaining yourself endlessly, and you find yourself constantly justifying your emotions. You're constantly justifying your needs and your existence in the relationship, as if asking to be loved fully is too much to ask. When you make excuses for someone's behavior to yourself and to others, oh, he's just stressed, she doesn't mean it this way, or it's not that bad. It also looks like shrinking yourself, dimming your light so they feel more comfortable, staying quiet when you have something to say, and not talking up about things that you think supposed to be talked about. And maybe the most unbreaking one is celebrating when someone treats you the way you should have always been treated. You feel so grateful for the basic respect that it feels like love. But it was always supposed to be the bare minimum. You will never receive the love you deserve in the place where you are willing to accept less than you deserve. I want to really be gentle with you here, because I'm not talking about this to shame anyone. I'm talking about this because if we don't name the pattern, we cannot break that pattern. And your patterns are not your fault, but they are your responsibility. So where does this come from? Why do intelligent, loving, warm-hearted women end up in a situation like I was that actually doesn't match who they are? Because we all have something I call a love blueprint. Your love blueprint is a collection of your beliefs, of your experiences, and your subconscious programming that tells you what love is supposed to look like, what it's supposed to feel like, and what it should cost you. That blueprint was written long before you ever had a romantic relationship. That blueprint was written in your childhood through things you witnessed, through your experiences, and what was modeled for you. If you grew up watching love that was conditional, you may have learned that you have to earn love. That it was with a price tag. And that if you are too much or not enough, that love is taken away from you. And if you grew up in an environment where love was inconsistent, sometimes warm, sometimes cold, sometimes present, sometimes unavailable, your nervous system learns to associate that unpredictability with what love feels like. And then, as an adult, you are unconsciously drawn to the same exact feeling because it feels familiar. Even when that familiar feels painful. And the most painful relationships are often the most familiar relationships. I remember when I got a coach, and when my coach first told me, you are not loving yourself enough, and this is your way of showing others how to love you. I was sitting there thinking, why do I keep finding myself in the same kind of relationship? Really, same pattern, different face, different name. Well, in my case, it was the same name, same dynamic. And the answer was because my blueprint told me that I was not lovable. My blueprint told me what love was. So underneath almost every pattern of accepting less, there's a big wound. There's a wound that says, I am not enough, or I am too much, or maybe even love always comes with conditions. Or it could even be something like, if I need too much, they'll leave me. And so, as a result of that, we shrink, we settle, we perform, we people please, we stay silent when we actually should speak up. We stay in a relationship, even though we know we should have walked away. Not because we don't deserve more. We stay because somewhere along the way, we stopped believing that we actually deserve better. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe that you deserve. And after this it is a lot of work that you have to do. And that work is healing. Not just recovering from what happened to you in your last relationship, but actually going deeper to the wounds that made you a match for all those experiences that you had. This is coaching work. This is healing work. And it is something that's so powerful and transformative. And it's important for you to do it. I want you to ask yourself, what did I learn about love when I was a little kid or a little boy? Did I learn that it was safe? Was the love I received consistent? Did the love I received require me to do something to get that? Did I feel that it was conditional? And you don't have to have all the answers right away. You just have to begin asking yourself. And only when you ask, you can figure out those patterns. So once we figure out the patterns and the blueprint, now we can figure out about the next step. And I want to talk about what comes next. Because this podcast, this space, is not just about naming those painful moments. It's about reclaiming your power. And the first act of reclaiming your power is deciding that the love you accept from this point forward will match the woman that you are becoming. I no longer negotiate my worth with someone else's comfort. Say that again and again. I no longer negotiate my worth for someone else's comfort. This is not about becoming hard or difficult. This is not about building walls or deciding love is too dangerous. This is about becoming so clear on who you are and what you deserve that everything less just doesn't fit anymore. So, what does healing your worth actually look like? It looks like healing your sense of worth. And it's not an overnight process. But I want to give you something real and concrete today. Here are 3 shifts that changed everything for me and for the women that I coached. Shift number 1, stop auditing yourself to understand their behavior. When someone doesn't show up for you, your first instinct might be just asking, what did I do wrong? How can I do better? How can I be better? And what's wrong with me? Stop. Stop. Their behavior is not because of your value. Some people are simply not capable of meeting you where you are. And that is not your fault. And it is not your job to shrink to fit their capacity. Shift number 2, get honest about what you are, what you have been tolerating. Pull out a journal or just write it down somewhere and ask yourself, what have I been accepting that I would not accept for my best friend? We extend so much grace to others, and it is time to extend that grace towards yourself. Not by lowering your standards, but actually by finally holding them. And shift number 3, start treating yourself the way that you want to be treated. This is mirror work. And if you're interested in how to do it, please reach out to me. This is daily practice because the relationship you have with yourself sets the standards for every relationship in your life. When you are gentle with yourself, when you honor your own emotions, when you keep promises that you make to yourself, you slowly begin to train everyone around you how to actually treat you too. You teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. And here's the beautiful thing about this work. You don't have to be fully healed to start. You just have to be willing to start. From broken to unbreakable is not single step. It's 1,000 of tiny choices to love yourself a little more today than you did yesterday. I want to invite you to participate in something that I call the letter you need to hear. And I want to do this right now. And this is a coaching experience that I use with my one-on-one clients. And I want you to bring to this space today. Close your eyes for a moment if you're able to do that. And take a deep breath. I want you to think about you as your younger version. Maybe she was in her first relationship, or maybe she was staying somewhere that she should not have. Or it could even be in the middle of a heartbreak right now. I want you to see yourself clearly. Now write that self a letter. Just 2 or 3 sentences. It doesn't have to be long, but it has to be true. Tell that younger self what she needs to hear. Tell her that she could not see it about herself. Tell her the things she needed to know about herself. Tell her that she was worthy, even then. And if you want to share that 1 to 2 sentences with me, feel free to do it in the space on the comments or message me privately, because I would love to read that. And if it's too personal to share in public, keep it. Read it again tomorrow and read it again the day after. Because that woman, the one you just wrote to, she's still alive today inside of you. And she deserves to finally hear that she was always enough. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And I don't take it lightly that you actually give me that time of your life. I want you to know that this conversation matters. We talked today about what the love that you accepted when you didn't know your worth. And I want you to leave with this. You are not a product of what you tolerated. You are the woman that's rising above that. And next week, I want to continue this topic. And I want to talk about betrayal, but the one that didn't break you. It broke the illusion. And that one is going to be powerful. So make sure that you tune back in on Wednesday, next Wednesday at 2 p.m. So if today's episode actually stirred something in you, and if you felt something shifted, if you thought, I need to go deeper than this podcast can take me, then I want to invite you to book a clarity session with me. It's a one-on-one coaching call where we just look at your story, your pattern, and what is possible for you from here on. The link is in the bio. You can schedule with me one-on-one. Message me for really healing. And I will help you get through this. And if you're ready to go even deeper, I do have a structured transformation work, which is a 90-day rebirth program. Message me and I will tell you about this. You were never meant to stay broken. You always meant to rise. Heal deeply. Live boldly, because you are unbreakable. I love you all. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again next week at 2 p.m.